It's Monday, September 30th, 2024, and this is episode 319 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, you know, I've been going out to Sequan lately because they continue to give me offers for free food and free play, things like that. I have been getting $75 a week in free play. So, you know, it's worth going out there and then playing a little bit.
Sure.
So the nice thing about Sequan is you get these free play chips and they stay out there until they lose. So, you know, you can potentially...
They're like regular chips.
Yeah, it is nice. And I had a run recently where I just kept making points and I was putting the free play chips out there for odds. So, you know, it was nice. I maybe had $50 in free play chips and turned it into 200 or something. So,
right,
that's nice.
Right.
So 75 every week. So I've been getting the same flyers from them saying, oh, 75, 75. So I went out there a few weeks ago and I put the free play down. And when the bet won, the dealer collected my free play chip. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Aren't they supposed to stay out there till they lose? And he said, oh, yeah, some of them do. We have different kinds. There's some that stay out there and there's some that are just for one bet. And I said, oh, well, I've been getting ones that, you know, stay out there. Anyway, I checked with the cashier. Even though they're saying, oh, yeah, you still get $75 a week, somehow I've been downgraded to the one bet only chips.
Oh, my God.
Kind of tricky on there, a little deceptive on their part, right? You know, making it sound like I'm getting the same benefits.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, I had the cashier look, you know, on her screen. No, it says here you only get the one bet play. And I checked to see if I could get it converted to machines. Right? Because when the free play is only good for one bet, it's really half its value. So if I have a $25 free play chip and it's just one bet, it's really only worth $12.50. But if I could convert it to machine, then it would be worth its full value. No, they wouldn't do it. So there must be something in place to prevent people who only get one bet free play chips from converting to machine. So that's where I am now.
So you can't ask for your free play as slot play?
Correct.
Not at all.
No
choice.
Nope. I'm a table game player. That's how I get my free play. So,
wow.
Yeah. So instead of $75, what is that? $37.50, right?
Yeah, $37.50
a week. So, and it's not quite as worth it for me, but we do get some food vouchers and what have you. So I still go out there and I enjoy playing there. But, anyway, so.
But that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
First of all, it's kind of deceptive advertising.
Definitely.
Which is illegal.
Well, it's deceptive, but I think what they're doing isn't illegal because technically they are giving me $75 in free play. It's just for one bet. So
yeah, okay. I guess they can get around the law that way. And they're an Indian reservation, so there is no real law.
Yeah.
But it's just bad business.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a guy out there who's playing with the amount of money you're playing with. You want him to come to the casino.
Yeah.
Why would you downgrade him because you've been using it?
Yeah. And you're talking about how deceptive it is. It definitely is. It's not like they told me that that's what's happening, right? You know, my flyers look exactly the same as they did 2 months ago when I was getting the free play that stays out there. So anyway.
Yeah. See, now that is deceptive.
Oh,
Mark,
yeah, there's no question. I agree.
Geez. Well, I'm sorry to hear that because I thought they were a decent casino of a board and whatnot. Yeah. But all you have to do is stop going for a month, and
it'd probably change. Look, I don't want to dwell on this, okay? Because I'm not losing any sleep over it. I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to bring up on the show, and this is the first time you've heard it. So yeah.
You know what my dad would have said about that?
Oh, yeah. He'd say I'm losing $37.50 a month or they're ripping me off, right?
They're ripping you off.
Even though they're giving you something, yep.
Yep. He'd say they're ripping you off.
All right, well, we got an email from listener Blair. I think this is an interesting little topic. He says, is there any rhyme or reason to the colors on the craps table layout? Now, he's not talking about, you know, oh, this is a purple table, you know, this is a black table, you know, versus the traditional green. He's saying, At one time, I thought the prop bets in the center of the table showed red for single roll bets with white or yellow for the multi-roll bets, such as the hardways. But that guideline doesn't seem to carry over onto the sides of the table. For example, the field is a single roll bet, but that is yellow. The big 6 and 8 are red, but those are not single roll bets. So I thought maybe you might know if there was an intention to the coloring on the table. So the examples that Blair is giving might be different depending on the overall color of the table, like I mentioned, if it's black or purple or, some red or something like that. But the point is, okay, do the different colors on the fonts describing the bets, is there some guideline that the companies or people that actually create these layouts, is there a guideline that they follow? Certainly, when we talk about center action, generally the one-roll bets, the lettering is a different color from the multi-roll bets, the hardways. Now, what those specific colors might be, again, is going to depend, but usually those are different. And then everything else on the table, it's sort of up for grabs as far as what the colors are going to be. Wouldn't you say, Dr. Mike?
Yeah, I would say that's true. They do that to kind of make note, like, well, this is one roll and this is multi-roll. But usually it never says anywhere on the table, red is one roll, or there's no key.
Yeah, you have to know. You have to know the game. Yeah.
So if you're a craps player who plays fairly regularly, you already know that. If you're a newbie, you have no idea what's single and double because there's no key.
Yeah.
They could all be the same color for all you know, right?
Yeah, if you're a newbie and the dealer's explaining the game to you, or you've got a friend who's explaining, that's nice because you can usually say, oh, see that center action, everything in red, that's one roll. Right. And everything in yellow, that stays out there till it's resolved. So, I mean, that is why they have the different colors out there. So you can kind of explain it
to help explain.
But you're right.
There's no key if you don't ask.
Yeah. And field, sometimes it actually says one roll on the field, one roll bet. But yeah, as far as the coloring of the letters, yeah, I think it's a free-for-all, and big 6 and 8, don't get us started. So, I mean, the short answer to the question, Blair, is no, there's no real rhyme or reason.
It's just more deception by casinos. That's what it is. Yeah. We answered this question in the first little segment there. They're just playing with you.
That's right. Why did my field bet lose? Oh, that's a one-roll bet. But it's colored like the hard ways. Dice out. So anyway, newbies beware, but don't count on the coloring of the lettering to tell you how long the bet's going to stay out there.
Yeah, I guess it's best to learn to play the game.
That's what I would. That's what I would suggest. Learn to play the game.
Well, what's your favorite color on a craps table, Mark?
You mean the layout, the whole layout?
Yeah, the whole layout.
Yeah, I like the purple ones. I know purple's kind of a divisive color, but it's my favorite color. I don't know. I was listening to a podcast where the host, she actually said she hates purple and avoids anything that's purple.
Really?
Yeah.
I love purple. That's my favorite color.
Yeah.
That's why I was a Vikings fan even when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. In San Diego,
yeah,
I was a fan of the Chargers, of course, and Padres. But my football team in the NFC was the Vikings because they wore purple.
Okay.
And I thought, I love those uniforms. That's so cool. I mean, they had great players back then too, but it just helped that they were in purple.
How about you for layout color?
Well, purple, because that's my favorite color.
Yeah.
But if I went past that, gosh, the black is kind of cool looking.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe black. Black, can be a problem, though, because like I've mentioned, at Plaza, they've got black, and it's hard to see the $100 chips.
Yeah,
I remember I had odds out there, and sometimes they wouldn't even notice it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that way, too. I initially look at it, I think, oh, that's cool. And then after a while, I'm like, oh, this is kind of rough to see.
Yeah.
Maybe just green, plain old.
Just the regular green, traditional.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
No, I guess, it could be, tie-dye and I still like it because it's craps.
Tie-dye. You have trouble seeing the dice, the chips. It's all just a...
How about this? It's got some way that they just constantly are changing.
Oh, yeah. It's like an electronic thing.
Yeah. It's like Christmas lights that change colors, right? Or they go in some sequence. The color changes as it goes down the table, back and forth.
Stickman, what was the call? We're not quite sure yet.
Yeah, wait till the color changes. I can't see the die.
I saw it for a second. Wait.
Well, Mark, they really do need to find ways to make craps more exciting for people. Right?
Yeah. All right. A felt that somehow changes color as you're playing.
Yeah, as you're playing.
Welcome to the Mark and Dr. Mike Casino. All right.
I might as well just every once in a while turn the lights off.
That's another good thing. And then turn them on. 7.
And then turn them on.
No, I saw it was a 6 when it landed. Oh, you're mistaken, sir.
It looks like 7 to me. Line away.
All right. Well, thanks for the question, Blair. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. Let's get on to the voicemails. First up is Chris.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Chris from Round Rock, Texas. Just got back from a weekend trip with some good friends of mine. We stayed at the Horseshoe. We always enjoy staying there because the location's good, the price is great. Gambling, I never do well there. I'm not exaggerating when I say I don't think I've ever visited the cashier. I don't usually gamble a ton there. We like to go downtown or some of the off-strip, more affordable places. But yeah, just I have bad luck. There's one particular incident. My friends went to bed. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit more gambling. And so I went down and I was playing craps at the table by myself. It was a $15 table. And another guy comes up and he starts rolling. And the point was 10. And so it was $15 on the 10. And I was just cheering, all right, shooter, hit that 5-5, 6-4, let's do it. And he looks at me and says, stop it, I know the rules. And I looked at the deal and I said, I've been playing for 20 years. I've never had a shooter get angry at me for rooting for him to make money. He wasn't on the doge or anything. And so I just kept my mouth shut. It really cooled off the table. He 7'd out shortly afterwards. Honestly, I wanted to just walk away right there. I only bought him for 100. I didn't give them my player's card. I was just wondering, I know that the pass line bet is a contract bet, but what would the repercussions be? If I actually just picked up my $15 and walked away, would they send security after me? I don't know what the repercussions would be. But yeah, that was a jerk thing to do. But it wasn't all bad. At Ellis Island, we had a great time. We always enjoy going there. It's like our home. The dealers were incredible. I want to shout out Josh and Jill in particular. Jill, she was a blackjack dealer. And me and my friend walked up to an empty table and just sat down with her. And for the first maybe 8 to 10 hands, she just killed us, just absolutely murdered us. We were getting all 14s, 15s. She was getting 20s and 21s out of nowhere. And she stopped the deck halfway through the shoe and says, you know what? This shoe is bad. We're going to reshuffle and start over again. And just the fact that she would take the time to do that, that was really cool. And after that, the shoe did go better, and we won some hands, and then she left, and then the next person that came up was also very friendly. We just love it there. We really enjoy gambling there. Overall, I did pretty well at the tables. It was a horrendous day betting on sports, both Saturday and Sunday. To give you some perspective, I listened to a couple podcasts on the Action Network that are specifically about college football betting and NFL betting, and I followed all of their picks this weekend, and both of the hosts on the separate shows apologized for how bad their picks were. And so I appreciate it because I felt like I deserved that apology. What really saved me was the match plays. The Las Vegas Advisor coupon book, I got that. I was kind of debating. It's like, gosh, if they raised the price to $50, and I ended up getting it. And between the match plays from there, as well as the ones they have at the D and the El Cortez with your board and pass, I was up about $300 to $400 just on those. So it really saved my trip. I know there's an investment in time. You actually got to go to the Players Club and get your coupon, but I never had to wait in a long line. I think I had one person in front of me once. The other time it was just walk right up. So that worked out really, really well. So yeah, it was a great trip. I had a lot of fun. As I mentioned, with my friends, my wife said that she wants to go on a trip soon, and she's interested in seeing Garth Brooks. So we're going to possibly plan a trip for either this winter or the spring and go back. So I enjoy your show. Thank you guys very much, and I wish you the best of luck at your next round of craps. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Great trip report.
Right.
Yeah, good luck
thank
if you go back. Yeah, Las Vegas Advisor coupons always a good investment if you are willing to, kind of jump through the hoops to get everything. But he said, what, about $300-$400? That's not bad.
Yeah, that's
$50
not bad. Yeah, especially if you're kind of a low roller, that
yes.
adds
Oh,
up
absolutely.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's knock these off in order, Mark.
All right,
How
go
about
ahead.
that surly shooter?
All right. Yeah. Angry gamblers are always a
Yeah.
problem, if you want to call it that, right? Come on, roll it. You're rooting for him.
Right.
He's insulted. I know how to play the game. I know what I needed.
I just get a biggest kick out of that. There's somebody who's having a really, really bad life.
It's
and it doesn't have to be that way. That's his choice to be mad that someone's rooting for him. Yeah. Oh, I hate it when people root for me, or I get a discount on something. Drives me crazy.
We don't want to preach to you how to gamble or why you gamble, but it doesn't seem like this guy is gambling for enjoyment, and we really push for that. Gambling should be something that you enjoy, unless you're an AP or something like that. And if he's playing craps, he's clearly not an AP. So, yeah, that's frustrating. Chris, you talked about, what if you had just picked up your pass line bet and walked away because you don't want to play with this guy? Yeah, if there's already been a point established, they will stop you. They'll probably notice right away, hey, sir, you got to leave that bet down there. And then if you continue to walk away, they would send security after you because that is a contract bet. Yeah.
Now, if he hasn't rolled yet, there's no point established.
Oh, yeah.
Starting to roll, and you don't think you have time to pick it up, just say no action on this bet.
Yeah, sure. And as long as they say,
then you
okay,
can pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at Ellis Island, they had that dealer, Jill, who, because the deck was unlucky or they kept losing, said, here, we'll just stop. I'll just reshuffle. I'm a little surprised that Jill had the discretion to do that. The dealer can't really determine when it's time to reshuffle because, shuffling takes a little time and they're not getting as many hands in. And of course, the casino wants as many hands in as they can. So maybe Jill didn't have the discretion, just went ahead and did it. But, great.
Well,
That's
she
great.
Probably knew that maybe they're not keeping a strict eye on that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So, maybe it's happened before. But yeah, great.
Very nice of her to do that.
Definitely. Unless you were like counting and the count was real high. It's like, no, don't shuffle.
Don't shuffle.
The count's really high.
The hands are coming. Sir, you're barred.
Yeah. Thanks for admitting you're a counter. We're Ellis Island. We're kind of a sawdust joint. Take a hike. Yeah, and then that was nice that the sports podcasters apologized for their picks.
I have something to say about that.
All right.
There are no experts in anything. Literally, Mark. I look
literally, there are no experts in anything, is what you're saying.
There are people who might know a lot.
Uh-huh.
But they're not an expert. An expert would never be wrong. That's my opinion.
All right. I think I know where you're coming at. I won't take your comment literally.
Okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. Hey,
I read the sports analysis of all the, from these so-called experts for like football games, right? And I can't tell you how often they make like 10 picks and they got 2 of them right.
Hey, the beginning of this NFL season has been brutal.
Yeah.
For better. I mean, look how many people were eliminated from survivor pools early. We're out. Even with the mulligan that we had on the Crap Vegas survivor.
And we picked teams that I didn't take any chances. I picked teams that were, favored by 9-10 points.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking, well, at least I'll squeak out a win.
Get those out of the way early in the season when it's, So it's everyone.
Sometimes it just drives me crazy to read them and, see that they advertise themselves as an expert.
Okay. Well, now, in Chris's case, he says he listens. I don't know if he used the word expert, but I don't know that these people themselves call themselves experts. They probably don't. That would be kind of pushing it, right?
Like on CBS Sports, they have expert picks.
Okay.
And then it has, the whole list of guys, and they'll talk about their picks or whatever. Right. And people pay for it. I mean, you want to do that, just go down to the track and get, Ike's favorites or Bob's best or whatever. All those guys out front who are trying to sell their picks to you.
Or bet on the jockey wearing the yellow jersey. That's always kind of worked for you, I think, Dr. Mike. So
well, you can see him the whole way around the track because the yellow stands
fluorescent yellow. It's like a highlighter yellow.
Right. I mean, bet on the team with the prettiest uniform, right? Or, I mean, it is kind of funny. It's
kind of like Diane Chambers said on Cheers that one.
Yeah.
Come on, Sam, a bear against a dolphin?
right. Yeah. It's crazy. And look, I can go 1 week and pick a ton of winners, and then the next week, get like 2 out of 20.
All
or
right.
something.
Well, don't jinx yourself.
And-
You had
yeah.
a great day on college football yesterday, so
Yes, I
congratulations.
know. It was an awesome day.
Yeah.
Well, when you win 2/3 of your picks.
Yeah. Yep. You're the expert.
Yeah, I'm now the expert. I think you should take my picks next week. Expert. Every expert can get stumped at something, especially when it involves a lot of factors like a football game does.
Some factors that maybe the experts don't know about.
Yeah, well, they don't know that, in the third quarter, the quarterback's going to twist his ankle a little and be off balance the rest of the game. Or, there's just so much that can happen.
All right, let's move on to our next call.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike. Wanted to comment on the previous guy's tier match for the win. I went out earlier in the year. I'm 7-starred with Caesars. I specifically did the tier match with them to get the free golf because we take a guy's trip towards the end of the year every year. And when I called the win, I had to talk to a casino host. I had to move around 2 or 3 different dates, but I was able to get the free golf benefit. As far as getting my room, the host advised me they don't do any upfront comps, but I could book a room, and then after the trip, they could look at my play and comp my room based on that. But we've been staying at Fontainebleau the last couple of times I've been out there, and they have the best blackjack games in town. They have a double deck that stays on soft 17. It's a little higher minimum, but they do negotiate, especially during the day when no one's playing it. And they have a lot of stay on soft $17, $50 games out on the main floor. But the win, they told me all the benefits you could use, but as far as getting like a comp room, they don't do any upfront comps. They just do the tier matching. I hope y'all have a good day, and I appreciate listening to the show. Thank you.
Yeah, he's talking about win there again. At the end, we had a call last time where a player had gotten a certain tier status at win, but not by playing. It was a tier match, I believe, and so we talked a little bit about that. So,
well, it didn't include everything.
Right, doesn't include everything.
It was a deceptive thing by the casino.
Yep.
Now, am I making a clear assumption here that when we say tier match, it's kind of like, oh, we're going to match your tier at your other casino so you can get the same benefits, but that doesn't always mean that.
Yeah, you're right. It is a little deceptive. Yeah, you're
it's
in
another.
the tier, but
it's another casino.
who knows? Maybe it's in the fine print. If you tier matched, you get certain. But whatever.
Well, you'd have to ask an expert on that.
Yeah, Fontainebleau. You do not see a lot of dealers stay on soft 17 blackjack in Las Vegas anymore. So I didn't know about that. We're going to be staying at Fontainebleau for Zorkfest, so I'm going to check out those tables. He said $50 was the minimum for that, and see what some of the other rules are, and see if maybe it is one of the better tables to play as far as rules go. Now, again, it's higher limits, but yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to stay there, and I actually thought about it for a second, but I just too much traveling back and forth. You're going to have your car. And
yeah,
stuff.
We'll have the car. Well, and also you've never been there. The reason we're staying there because I got offers from the time that I played.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would have probably had to book and pay up front. I'm sure you would have got comped at the end, but yeah. So
yeah, it'll be easier. I'm going to stay at Bally's because I can just walk down to the casino.
Yeah, you mean Horseshoe, Dr. Mike, where Zorkfest is actually taking place?
Yeah, Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Used to be Bally's.
Oh, that's right.
I still call it Bally's. What was it before Bally's?
It's going to be hard to shake. It was MGM Grand before Bally's.
MGM Grand, yeah. They had the lion out front.
Did they? No.
Didn't they at one point?
No, there's no. You're thinking of the current MGM Grand.
No, I went there with Margaret Archuleta.
Oh, maybe it did. Yeah, you're probably right.
They had the lion out front.
A real lion or just a statue?
A real lion in a cage.
Yeah, all right.
And Margaret wanted to go because she liked lions.
Yep. Now I remember.
And she went to Vegas just for that.
You're right.
Yeah. That was the trip where we did that parachute thing, virtual parachute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun, huh?
I didn't do it
Oh,
because
that's
my
right.
back was having problems then. Well, I've had problems my whole life, but it was bad, real bad then, and I didn't do it because they said, "Oh, it's pretty hard on your back." But I loved watching Paul do it.
Yeah. Of all the people watching, I wish I could have been there. That would have
just
been
the look on his face.
Oh my God.
Mark was amazing.
Fantastic. All right, next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. Long time listener, first time caller. Mainly because my crop stories aren't super exciting, but I do have a great one finally. Back in the spring of this year, I went to Vegas with a friend, and the first morning I went to the craps table to get some tea and have the first roll of the trip. I didn't bet on the all-tall small this time, but managed to hit the all-small and somehow missed the all-tall by an 11. Fast forward to my trip the other week for business. While walking back to my room early on the first night before the conference, since East Coast jet lag sucks, I saw an empty, open $15 table at Park MGM. So I figured, why not just give it one roll? This time I did bet the all-tall small, and then proceeded to roll for 30 minutes. I was making numbers, dealers were hitting the hard ways, and slowly the table attracted people. I hit the all-tall, but needed snake eyes for the last small. I lamented to the dealers I couldn't lay the 2 as it wasn't crapsless. But on the next come-out roll, everyone on the pass line was confused why me and the dealers were so excited I rolled the 2. They all saw the chips coming my way and quickly understood. I almost hit the all-tall again, but eventually 7'd out. All said and done, I bought it for 300, rolled once, which was my first time playing craps that trip, and also hit the all-tall small for the first time in my life, and walked away with 1,900. Mark, as I know you like statistics, what's the odds of hitting your first all-tall small on the first roll of the trip? Keep up with a good podcast. Matt.
All right. Well, thanks for finally calling in. Okay, so if you're talking about, what are the chances of hitting the all-tall small on the first roll of your trip? Well, it's the same odds as any roll, right? It doesn't really matter that it's the first roll. It's about 1 in 190. Now, if your question is, and this is the way you phrased it, your question is, what are the chances that the first time you ever hit the all-tall small is the first roll of a trip? Well, that's a lot harder to figure out, and it would depend on how many rolls you have on a typical trip. So I can't figure that out for you. But just in general, anytime you make that bet, your chances of hitting the all is about 1 in 190.
What about your chances of hitting one side?
Oh, that is about 1 in 38.
1 in 38.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and you get paid, what, 35 to 1?
35 or 30, right? Depends on the table you're at.
Right.
Yeah.
So not bad.
Yeah, well, okay, you say not bad, but it's still a relatively high house edge.
Yeah, it's a high house edge, but it's not like you should be getting 38 and you're getting 20 or something like that. Right. So I would say you're an expert on statistics, but you couldn't figure out without all the variables, right?
Well, first of all, I don't say I'm an expert on statistics. I won't say that. I'm not a math expert. I enjoy math and statistics. I'm close. Yes. Yeah. I'm close, I guess. One thing he was talking about, too, he needed the 2 for the all, and he was saying, he couldn't lay against it because he wasn't at a crapless table. We don't know of any crapless tables where you can make any lay bets. Because remember, there's no don't pass on a crapless table, and there's really nothing on the layout to distinguish lay bets. So, at least we've never come across a crapless table.
I've never
where you
seen
can make
a lay bet on a
so
crapless,
you wouldn't even be able to lay against the 2 at a crapless table. Yeah.
You'd have to put out so much money to make a little.
And there's no real incentive for the casino to offer that. How often would people be making those bets? So, yeah.
Right.
But anyway, congratulations on finally hitting the all-tall small. That's always exciting. All right, next up is Nate.
Mark and Dr. Mike. Nate from Atlanta. Brief trip report from a little trip I took up to Washington, D.C. Up there for work and had a chance to go to National Harbor. I've been there before. It's a nice casino. I think I'd maybe left the notes in a previous call. But a couple interesting things this time. I had said that I wasn't going to play craps until my December trip to Vegas to see the Falcons, but I cheated. They had an interesting little stadium game where there's a craps table, a couple of roulette tables, a blackjack table, and then a huge oval of screens around it, probably 40, 50 stations around it. I'd never seen anything quite that large before. But a little $5 game, so I said, hey, why not? What was interesting, though, is we had this lady shooting, and she did a great job. She probably rolled about 25 numbers or so before she finally sevened out. And then when they were wanting the next shooter to come up, everyone declined, and we just all wanted her to shoot again. So she actually wound up shooting 4 times in a row. Did pretty good on 3 out of the 4. Made everyone a good chunk of money. But I could have made more money if I was really paying attention. What I eventually found was as a bet hit and paid you, they took your bet down. And it took me a while to realize this. Definitely something weird about this version of the game. I'm used to them leaving the bets up when they pay out. Maybe I'm remembering this all the way wrong or something. But it caught me off guard having to put my bets back up. And by the time I finally figured it all out, and I hadn't made as much money as I could have. But at any rate, it was a great little run. I took that as a sign that maybe I'm supposed to wait to December to play craps. And she got me up for my trip there, plus 10 whole dollars. So recovered some of my losses, and that was great. A couple other things that I noticed with blackjack, all the rules there are the 6-5 tables, and I just loathe 6-5 blackjack. I think it's such a scam, and I generally just refuse to play them. The only other option is in the high roller room at $300. Plus, that room just looked lame, kind of dead. The people in there just didn't look like they'd be a lot of fun to play anything with. So I found a $15 table, and that actually had some interesting rules. Offered surrender, which was awesome. And then you could double down after split and resplitting of aces. So I'm used to really, really bad rules on those 6-5 tables and just hate the game and generally refuse to play it, but I was pleased to find that. And then I also noticed they had pontoon, which I did not know is another name for my favorite version of blackjack, which is Spanish 21. And that's usually what I recommend to people that want to get in at a little lower stakes and avoid that 6-5 crap, because that usually pays 3-2 and has a bunch of other really good rules. There you go, MGM National Harbor. Interesting trip. Made a little bit of money and found some good rules on some otherwise horrible 6-5 blackjack.
All right, good. Thanks for the trip report. Yeah, pontoon is very similar to Spanish 21. Technically, there are different rules. Now, I'm not sure at MGM National Harbor if it's actually different from Spanish 21. If you go to Australia, that's where you'll find pontoon instead of Spanish 21. And there definitely are different rules. I'll post a link to the Wizard of Odds description of pontoon so that everybody can look at it rather than go through all the differences, because, again, who knows what they're actually doing at MGM National Harbor.
Isn't pontoon a great word?
I agree. I thought that you'd probably like that.
Yeah, pontoon. And I like that there's O's and then, P and a T and an N. It's spaced out nicely. Sounds good.
Looks good, yeah.
More things should be called pontoon.
More words should be like pontoon is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You ever been on a pontoon boat?
Yes, I have.
Amazing.
Many times, especially here in the Mississippi, because a lot of people have pontoon boats.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, those bets on the electronic games that come down, see, that's why I don't play them.
I have seen this too. I've not seen it to the point that Nate experienced it, I don't think, but I know on some of I can't remember which version of Bubble Craps, but buy bets would come down when they hit, but place bets would not.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be vigilant. Yeah. And I don't think there was any way to set a default. Like, I don't think there's any screen you go to where you can actually select, leave my bets up there. So beware.
Yeah. There's just too many inconsistencies in different places, different games.
Yeah.
You got to get used to it.
Yeah. If I started playing, I would assume that the bets would stay up only because that's the way it happens at a real craps table.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Next up, Dylan's got a report from the Philippines.
Mark and Dr. Mike, this is Dylan from Houston. How are you guys? I remember a while back you guys had a caller kind of asking about gambling in the Philippines. I happen to be there right now, and I happen to actually go to one of the casinos. It was called the Waterfront Hotel and Casino in Cebu City. Decent sized property, a little older. You can tell they haven't really kept up with it as much, but not bad. It was probably built in the 90s or early 2000s. The casino itself, a lot of baccarat that people were playing. They also had another game called Pontoon. Have no idea how to play that. They did have a blackjack table. It wasn't open when I was there. It looked like the rules were 3-2. They used a continuous shuffling machine for the blackjack table. For baccarat, was a squeeze game, about 1,000 Filipino pesos for the minimum. That would be roughly $20. So, geez Louise, try to find a $20 squeeze game in Las Vegas. Not going to happen. I know Tim Lawson would have loved it. That's why I couldn't help myself. I sat down. At first, I was a little intimidated, right, because all the locals were crowding the table. I didn't want to sit down, but then they opened up a brand new table that nobody was around, sat down there, and after about 20 minutes, I had a huge crowd around me along with other players, and boy, did I have a good time. I'd be lying if I said I came out ahead, though. It was a statistical anomaly how much I was losing, but... Yep. Still a great time, a great experience. One interesting thing that I saw is they had bubble craps, right? So your typical bubble craps machine with the terminals all around it, but it was a bubble craps / sickbo machine, right? So I don't know anything about sickbo, but this particular machine had 3 dice inside of it. They were different colors. 2 dice were black, 1 die was white. And just intuitively, I think the 2 black dice were for craps, and then for sickbo, I think you have to use all 3 dice.
Yep, that's it.
But there was also single pop craps there, and I played a little bit of that. That actually brought me back a little bit from my baccarat losses. They also have poker, Texas Hold'em. I believe 25.50 Filipino peso minimum, so that would roughly be like 50 cents, $1. Really low minimum. Again, didn't get a chance to play that, didn't have a whole lot of time, but low minimums, friendly dealers. I had a great experience. I don't really have anything bad to say about the casino. Totally worth it if you get a chance to go. Love you guys, love the show. Hope y'all are doing well. Maybe one of these days I can actually play in one of the poker tournaments. I'm never off on Sundays. Last thing, this is just my own idea, right? But I think it would be pretty cool if you guys interviewed maybe the winner of the poker tournament, right? I think a lot of your listeners would love to hear from the winner and maybe, of course, just do what you guys do. Talk gambling, talk casinos, favorite game, first gambling experience, that kind of thing. Anyways, love you guys. Love the show. Hope y'all are doing well. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dylan.
All
Great
right, thank
report.
you.
Pontoon. 2 calls in the same show. And we get a reference to Pontoon that I think maybe has been mentioned once before in the whole history of the podcast.
Well, I think we're going to have to push for a pontoon game in Vegas.
All right. I'll see if there's anybody dealing pontoon in Las Vegas, and maybe we'll check it out when we're there. Yeah, that is a good idea, having us interview our tournament champions.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, the thing is, I always shy away from interviews. I won't speak for you, Dr. Mike, but I don't think I'm a very good interviewer. And, I don't want to put pressure on listeners, too. There are some people who might really enjoy playing the tournament and hope they win, but don't want to be interviewed on the show. And I don't want to make it a policy, we always interview the winner, and then one time we don't, and it kind of puts a spotlight on that person. So I love the idea. Whether or not we go through with it or not, I don't know. Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I think it'd be kind of cool to interview them, and if they don't want to interview, you can interview me, and I'll pretend I'm them.
Oh, now that's a good idea. That's a great idea, Dr. Mike. You're contributing to the show.
Yeah, I'm contributing to the show. I'll just pretend I'm them. Well, I don't know. I stayed in sometimes, and sometimes I didn't. And, I got lucky.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. You're actually not that interesting. I don't think we're going to use this on the show.
Yeah. You got to ask the standard questions. How does it feel to win?
Yeah, right. How's it
pretty
feel
damn good.
What'd you think when you were all in there at the end?
What are you going to do now that you won? What are you going to do with your gift card? I'm going to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Buy nothing because there's nothing that cheap.
That's right. I'm going to have to actually pay a little bit out of my pocket to make up for
to get a soda.
Yeah. Plus, I found out Amazon gift cards don't work at Disneyland when I got there. So it was another $50.
That's just terrible. I'll tell you, sports interviews, sometimes you'll get a really good one, but most of the time, it's just some lame question. And it always starts with, how does it feel?
Yeah. Or when
you're interviewing, I would love to do that, because when they said that to me, I would say, well, you're interviewing a person who won. Of course it feels good. If you want an exciting answer, go talk to the guy who lost.
Yeah, really, if he'll talk to you. No, I especially dislike it when they interview like coaches at halftime.
Yeah.
Because the poor coach, what can he say, right? And so, you know, he's learned to make these generic answers, right? Well, we're going to ball control. That's something we need to look at. Yes.
Yeah, we need to play a little harder, because we're down. And even the guy who's winning, when they interview him, he says something like, well, we got to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, they're a good team.
They're a good team. Yeah, there's nothing that, we're up 48-0, but, they're a good team and they could come back. Oh, I hate those interviews. Why do they even waste their time?
All right, stop complaining. You've been very negative this whole show. All right, well,
I'm trying to save all my positivity for the NFL game.
Oh, that's right. We're recording this Sunday
40
morning,
minutes.
So, yeah. All right. Thank you, Dylan, for the excellent report on your trip to Waterfront Cebu City in the Philippines. Thanks. We appreciate it. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Andy from Madison, Wisconsin. I am down at Diamond Joe in Dubuque, and I was playing craps, and I was tipping pretty generously. And I said to them, hey, I learned from a podcast that you need to tip well to make it fun. And they said, oh, is that you can bet on that? And I was like, yes. And they're like, oh, Dr. Mike, he came here that one time, and he played. He was such a great guy. So let me tell you, even though you haven't been back to Diamond Joe Dubuque, dealers still remember you. It's $5 craps on a Thursday night. Pretty crazy, but I thought you'd like to know that they still remember you from your one visit here. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I love your show. Have a good night.
All right, you got a reputation there, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, I'd like to go back down there again. So if I go to Diamond Joe Worth, I can drive back roads. It's a little quicker. And the roads are always clear and fast. They're straight, too.
Yeah.
And if I get on the highway, it takes a few minutes longer, but it's all highway driving. To get to Dubuque, there's no particular highway. And you're going on a lot of county roads, and they're real curvy. Mm-hmm. And for the last couple of years, they're always fixing the roads. So it just takes a long time, and it's kind of annoying. So when I start out, I think, maybe I'll go to Dubuque today. And then no, I end up going to Diamond Joe Worth. But I do like Dubuque, the way the craps is laid out.
Yeah.
Their tables are kind of in a big open space, and it's kind of nice, and everyone there's friendly and stuff. Gosh, if it was closer, I'd go probably a lot more.
Yeah. You'll get back there eventually.
Oh, yeah.
You make an impression, Dr. Mike, on the staff. We were at Monarch in Blackhawk, and the boxman actually said to you, man, you're a rock star. Because of the way you were betting for the dealers. That's the word he used.
A rock star. This is the point where Billy Idol jumps out and yells at me, you're not a rock star.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're at Monarch. He just comes out from behind some slots. You're not a rock star.
You're not a rock star.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Anthony from Missouri. Got an annual trip coming up with my dad to Vegas, staying at the Palazzo like we always do. I'm actually going up the night before by myself because I talked myself into saying that it'd be cheaper to stay a night in Vegas. Hotel-wise, that is true, actually. Just a couple of questions for you here. One revolving around Baccarat, actually. I've never played. I know it's an easy game. You don't really have to worry about skill or anything, but just wanted to know y'all's opinions on Baccarat and also just in general, if you guys have played, some tips or tricks or anything about the Baccarat table there. going to be going out for a few nights and hitting downtown. Going to hit Fontainebleau and the Mother Wolf restaurant in there. Also going to explore a little bit and go down to Green Valley Ranch. Don't know if y'all have been there before, too. We try to mix in some new things with some old classics there as well, too. One last thing I have question-wise, too. I'll be staying at Park MGM the night before. Going to bring a decent bankroll. I get some comps from Park MGM and from MGM in general, but trying to bump those up a little bit more due to us potentially going in July of 2025 and went to stay at the Cosmo. How would you best think about maybe getting my average Theo for a night to helping out some stuff? Usually my comps are weekdays at the lower end sports. Don't get any for like Bellagio, Aria, anything too. So any tips on that would be great too. Usually play craps, but I know slots and different things like that can get you some better comps too. So appreciate what y'all do. Looking forward to hearing from you and thanks you guys do for the podcast.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, we're not MGM experts. I mean, who is?
Yeah,
but
right.
we had heard in the past that MGM was not real good about crediting table game play. It's more about slots. And even if it weren't MGM, yeah, you're definitely going to do better probably playing slots. That will help your ADT. Now, we're never suggesting that you play just to earn comps and tier credits. You know, it's more like gamble the way that you like to and then take advantage of what they give you. But yeah, if you were really going this way, slots, make sure you stay at the same property. Maybe it wouldn't matter with MGM, but I would stay at the same property, play slots, and you'll probably see your ADT go up. And then be careful about not, say, the next day, playing only a little bit at an MGM property because that would bring your ADT down. So just concentrate just on that one day.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't get up the next morning and say the morning you're going to leave and play for an hour.
Yeah, right.
Or half hour.
If you're going to just play without your card, right? So yeah,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you're worried about your ADT.
Yeah. And then, yeah, as far as Baccarat goes, so Baccarat is a very simple game. There are plenty of people who don't like it because there's no real decision making other than, am I going to bet player or banker? You've probably heard us talk about squeeze games. Squeeze games are where the players are allowed to touch the cards. Not only touch them, but bend them, kind of crinkle them. You know, you can actually destroy the card to a certain extent. But even that, I won't play that by myself. I mean, I won't play without friends, is what I should say. It can be kind of fun to play with friends. There's some camaraderie there. And again, there's a ritual with playing the game where, you know, you're just bending the side of the card. Oh, what's this next one going to be? Oh, what's that? So it's kind of silly, but it's fun. If you enjoy that, then go for it. But otherwise, you know, if it's not a squeeze game, I would probably stay away from it. You're probably only going to find squeeze games in high limit rooms. There are some exceptions, but generally the squeeze games are reserved for higher limits. And then, you know, beyond that, if you want to play smart mathematically, just bet on the banker every time. You have to pay a 5% commission on wins, but it has a slightly lower house edge than the player. Anything else on Baccarat, Dr. Mike?
No, you know, you've played a lot more than I have, actually. And I just don't get a lot out of Baccarat, mostly because there's really no decision making.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to deal out the hand.
Yeah, it's all about the social aspect for me.
Yeah.
The actual game itself is secondary.
Right. It's social. And usually it's like Mark and I, or maybe a third person. And, you know, it's not like we have 10 people monopolizing a table.
Yeah. And so when we have, like when we were in Biloxi and we basically took over a table, that's some of the best times I've had gambling ever. But again, it's because of the social aspect as opposed to the game itself, the mechanics of the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just stick with craps.
Yeah. All right. Last call.
Hello, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is Nathaniel from North Carolina. I just come from a trip report, actually 2 trip reports. First, I went to Danville Casino in Danville, Virginia. A couple months would be Caesars, so I'm looking forward to that. They have 2 craps tables. One's crapless and then craps, and then the crapless is 15 and the regular craps is 25. That's what I've seen in the middle of the week. I'm normally out there on the weekend, and they had the repeater bet. I went there, no luck on craps, no luck on slot machines. I played bubble craps again, and I rolled 44 times before I crapped out on the 45th roll, but I came out on an 8 and did not hit my 8 to the 35th roll. I rolled 34 times without a 7 or an 8. Thought that was kind of very odd. Then I went to, me and my wife went to Clearwater, Florida on our 25th anniversary. So, of course, being that close to Hard Rock, Tampa, we had to go over there a couple nights. So I went over there, and they had, could be more, but I've seen 6 craps tables, $15 minimum, and then I've seen 2 other ones in another section, $15 minimum. Maybe more than that. That's a big place. I might not even actually seen them all, but it was a very nice casino. Done all for the first night. Couldn't do nothing on craps, nothing on slot machines, anything. Second night came back, had a big comeback. Still think we was down a little bit, but it was a good trip. Went to the high limit room. They have a very nice high limit slot machine room, maybe the nicest one I've ever seen. I know a lot of YouTubers play there, so I've seen if I've seen any of those, and influencers didn't see any of those. But going to Harris Cherokee this weekend, if the weather holds out, that I can get up I-40 from the hurricane, and going there to play craps and drink Mountain Dew. That's right, they have the Mountain Dew out of the gun right there at the craps table. The closest mark to the craps table is top notch. Some of the best I've ever had. Dr. Mike would definitely have to try it when he makes it to Harris Cherokee. Thanks for all y'all do, and goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Nathaniel.
All right.
Gosh,
That's
based
good.
on the news, I'm guessing Nathaniel did not get to Harris Cherokee.
Right. I doubt it.
Yeah. I was looking at a lot of road closures because of the hurricane.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was quite a deal, that hurricane.
Yeah. I hope everybody's safe. Well, and happy 25th anniversary, Nathaniel. Sounds like they went down to Florida to celebrate. So congrats.
Yeah, very good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations from Brian and Sarah, from Joshua, and from the MGM experts over at Crap Vegas. As far as I know, I think they're experts at MGM, probably know everything about
MGM.
Yeah. And we also got a donation from our friend Robin Aubin over at NE Time Gambling, and I think we're going to see him at Zorkfest. So looking forward to that.
Nice. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen him in a while. That's great.
Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet On That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at Facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Dr. Mike, I have a feeling I know what you're going to talk about in the closing segment here. Yes.
Mark, I love college football.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to talk about.
What'd you think I was going to talk
The
about?
Padres.
Well, they're coming. That's coming. I'm saving that for the big end.
All right. I have some comments about that too. What do you have to say about college football that's just going to repeat what you say every episode?
Well, I love Saturdays because there's just so many darn games on, Mark. It starts here at 11 a.m. and I go to bed about 1:30 a.m.
It starts at 9 a.m. my time. It's exciting.
Right. Yeah, but ours goes till 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, see, that's too late.
I'm watching some. No, it's not too late. You can't get enough football.
You've got NFL the next morning. You got to, but yours starts late. All right, I got to get my time zones figured out here.
Anyway, I love it. And there's so many games. And, we're making bets on them and stuff. And it's just fun I get the biggest kick out of adjudicating.
Right. Oh, my God. It's like the 4th episode in a row. You've said the same exact thing.
I just can't tell you how happy that makes me.
Yeah.
So last night we had during the day, I ran the scoreboard for the local football team.
Oh, okay.
Football team. So that took a couple, 2.5, 3 hours of my time.
Yeah.
And then I came home, rested for a little bit, watched a little bit of football, but then had to go chaperone the homecoming dance
at
another high school.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, I had my sheet and I'm out there in the dark gym. The lights are off and they just have strobe lights and the music's blaring. And
That's great.
I'm trying to
You're
use my
looking at your phone to look up the scores, look up that every once in a while you raise your head. Hey, not so close.
Yeah. Stop jumping like that. One kid kept jumping up trying to touch the basketball hoop. And but hey, but I still was able to adjudicate even though I was in a gym all night. Then I came home. We got home about midnight and I still had like an hour and a half of sports to watch.
All
yeah.
right.
A busy day.
Yeah.
And then getting to the Padres, Mark. Unbelievable. They've been playing so well. Even yesterday they won.
Yeah, I know.
When I thought, well, they're just going to kind of call it in these last two games because their position's not going to change.
It's not going to change. These are meaningless for the Padres, yeah. These last games.
And then they go out and it was a good pitching duel right to the ninth inning.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you, Tuesday night, that was card night. That was a poker night. So we're all together playing poker. And the Padres are playing the Dodgers, right? And they've got a good lead. And then bottom of the ninth, Dodgers are threatening. It's 4-2. Man on first and second, nobody out. And Ohtani is on deck. So it's like, well, Ohtani's going to come to bat, no matter what. So we're in some trouble here. And then triple play. I've never been to a game where there was a triple play. I've never even seen one watching live on TV.
Well,
and to end that game with a triple play and make the postseason as a result of that win, we went crazy. We couldn't even really play poker very well the rest of the night. We were all making mistakes because we were overwhelmed.
Yeah, I was sitting here yelling by myself down in the basement. Lynn's like, what's going on? I'm like, Lynn, you got to watch this play. So fortunately, it was all over the internet.
Machado, he is just so focused in that game. You say what you want about Manny Machado.
Yeah.
He is a student of the game.
I was telling
he
Lynn,
loves the game.
Say anything you want.
There was no hesitation. Step on third, throw. Oh, it's fantastic. And the plays were not close.
Well, he had to go backwards.
Yes, right.
Third,
right.
Most people going forward would just have thrown to second or even maybe just to first.
Yeah.
But he stepped backwards, touches third, and it was like two steps backwards.
Yeah, he
fires
wasn't right
it to second, and then fires it to first. And you're right, second base and first weren't even close.
Yeah, the Dodgers challenged it because why not, right?
Well,
it's the end of the game.
It's the end of the game.
But, he kind of call on the field confirmed.
Yeah, that was quite a play.
Yeah.
And Machado, he gets a rep for maybe sometimes not going full speed or something. He doesn't have to. He's so good. It looks like he's just taking it easy, but Well, he makes those plays.
He's got an attitude too. It's it'd be easy to dislike him. I can understand other teams disliking him. But he definitely is a baseball player. So
he definitely knows baseball.
Yeah. So playoffs coming up. So we're excited.
I'm excited about that. I've got a lot on my plate this week, Mark.
Yeah, I understand.
Fortunately, there's not another home football game for a couple of weeks, and I think girls soccer's done. Boys soccer has like one more game, so that's going to free up my afternoons a lot.
All right, good. Well, settle in. Enjoy yourself, Dr. Mike.
Yes, and I want to leave everybody with just this one last thing, Mark. During homecoming, some of the seniors had to go over to the grade school to talk to the kids, the homecoming court.
Oh, okay.
And they were in my room practicing. They're all, seniors. And they're saying to me, we have to tell them something about, the future. And they're coming up with ideas like do good in school. That's going to help you later in life. Be a good person, all this and that. And I said, forget all that. Tell them the real truth.
Yeah.
If you want to be happy in your life, spend time with the people you love and do the things you like to do. Right? That's all it is to it. So you like to go gambling in Vegas and play some craps? Do it.
Okay.
Take your buddy, your wife, whatever. Have fun. Time's short.
I don't disagree. I think they should probably try to do well in school, though. I'm not discounting that.
Well,
I'm not saying you should throw all that out. I agree with you, but maybe that's like, an extra thing at the end.
They'd look at me like, well, that's kind of simple. Just have fun and enjoy your family. Oh, yeah, that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Mike. This talk to the kids is going to be easy. Take about 10 seconds.
The principal's not going to be real happy, but...
All right, we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Good night. Have a good day, everyone.
Anyway, I'm counting on you guys now to take it easy on Jerry. Be nice. Maybe let him win a few hands.
Don't worry, honey. We will.
Will we?
Are you nuts? This is poker.